Oh, why is it so hot, man? Also, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a Kevin Garnett shirt right there. You might be able to see it, you might not be able to, but I've put it there for my video on the basketball channel. On the football one, I've got a Yaya Toure shirt there. Right, so today we're going to be talking about the Celtics and how I think they're going to perform next season. Now, I'm a Celtics fan, right, and I wanted to make this video mainly to talk about my Celtics and where I think we'll come next season, my expectations for the team, and who I think is going to be the best player, who's going to progress the best, and yeah, just my overall thoughts on how we're going to perform next season, in the regular season and in the playoffs as well. Now, starting with the regular season, I do think that we're going to play quite well. I personally think that we're going to get the top seed in the East. Now, that might be a surprise to some people, because some people will probably say the Bucks or the Miami Heat again, who are obviously the favourites. However, I do think we came second in the East last season, and we had one of the worst starts into our NBA season that we could possibly have, right? And I don't see that happening again. I think with Ime being there for a full season, we've got what we need to do. And hopefully there's no overhanging feeling of like dread from the NBA Finals that could have happened. And we've also strengthened as well, right? We've brought Malcolm Brogdon in, who is a good point guard and a good true point guard as well, which could be good for the Celtics in many ways. It means we can play a bigger lineup and we can play a more conventional system. Now, a lot of people are saying we're going to change the team and Marcus Smart will be dropped to the bench. However, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it depends on the opponents. I think Marcus Smart will still be that point guard, and as much as many people don't agree with it, why would you then drop the Defensive Player of the Year? It doesn't really make sense to me, and I think Marcus Smart, in clutch situations especially, might not be the best player to have on the floor, and you might want Malcolm Brogdon on the floor for those situations. However, defensively, he's so solid, and seeing out those games is going to be a very important aspect of why Marcus Smart is going to be in the team. Now, the main team that I think is going to play it's going to be basically the same as last year. I don't think the starting lineup changes from last year. I think it's going to be Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford and Robert Williams. Now, you've obviously got to make sure that you're treating Al Horford with a lot of care. Sorry about that, by the way. I am recording this a bit later than I was filming earlier, so you see the lighting might have changed a bit. I usually rely on a lot of natural light for my videos because I can't really afford much else. I've got one light here, which you can see helps a little bit with what I'm trying to do. So yeah, let's get back into it. So, my main issue with the Celtics is how healthy everyone's going to be. And the good thing that I've heard a lot of Celtics fans talk about is you can build some of these players up. For example, Robert Williams, he doesn't have to start every single game and play about 38 minutes. Now, we can rest him and we can try and limit him by signing a veteran. Now, we are trying to get that centre in on a veteran minimum who's playing on our Summer League team that did actually play for the Celtics before he had that horrible accident. Aaron Baines, I think it is. So it's mainly about giving a lot of these players rest, and I think bringing Malcolm Brogdon in will give a lot of players like Marcus Smart and hopefully Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown a bit more of a rest. Players can play in different positions and we can suit different players to when we need them, really. And I think the main goals for the Celtics this season is being a top seed in the East and having one of the best records in the whole of the NBA. Defensively, they're going to be solid. Malcolm Brogdon should contribute to them offensively, which is a good thing. The Celtics have been missing in those clutch situations, in those kind of fourth quarter periods where it seems always a bit rushed, especially with Marcus Smart playing and no real direction. No one's really orchestrating the offense. It's just kind of isolation ball and it's not really going to win you games. So I do think the main focus is going to be on defense still. Hopefully the offense can improve with Malcolm Brogdon coming in. My main goal is to get a championship this season. And if people are suggesting that they shouldn't be aiming for a championship this season, coming off that NBA Finals, you definitely should be aiming for a championship. Especially playing the teams you play to get there, definitely should be going for a championship. In that run, you beat the title favourites for the past 2 seasons, the Brooklyn Nets, with KD and Kyrie Irving, 2 of the best players of all time. They weren't obviously on their A game, but they were still one of the best teams in the whole NBA. Then you beat the defending champions, the Milwaukee Bucks, who had arguably the best player in the whole league, over the past 2 seasons, if you're not counting Jokic. So the best player in the Eastern Conference, you beat him and his team, even though they didn't have Chris Middleton, but you still beat their whole team. And then you beat a Miami Heat team who was the best seed in the whole of the Eastern Conference, who had Jimmy Butler, who had Kyle Lowry, who had some of the best players in the league, and we still beat them. We lost to the Golden State team, who had a top 10 player of all time, a team that has won before, and yeah, that is the most important thing. They've been there before, and now the Celtics have, and now they've got an advantage over other teams, such as the Grizzlies, for example, such as the Mavericks, who don't have this experience of going to the NBA Finals. Now the Celtics have that, but obviously there are a lot of teams to compete for it. And a lot of times with the NBA, it comes a lot down to injuries. We've seen this with the Milwaukee Bucks, who mainly didn't win their title because Chris Middleton was injured or didn't get to the finals or progress further than they probably should have done because Chris Middleton was injured. We've seen this throughout NBA history where teams should have won the NBA title but didn't, and that's why I love basketball, because it's not predictable, a lot more like football is, for example. You know, Man City, even if Kevin De Bruyne gets injured, they're still probably going to win the league. Obviously the Celtics are one of the main title contenders, being as they have a young team who's going to progressively get better. Robert Williams shouldn't be injured next season. Al Horford might decline a little bit. Jason Tatum should get better, should get a higher MVP standing. Jaylen Brown should be an all-star again. Marcus Smart, the Defensive Player of the Year, isn't going to get worse. Then you're bringing in Malcolm Brogdon, who is a 20-point-a-game player on his day. I can't see how it gets much better. You've got players coming off the bench like Grant Williams, who successfully defended Giannis, who successfully defended KD. You've got Pritchard coming off the bench as well, who is one of the best shooters in the NBA when he gets just a catch and shoot. He's so good at shooting 3-pointers, it's unbelievable. And I was so impressed with him this whole season and how he's progressed. I love him. He might not get the minutes he deserves, however, a great player and is developing extremely well, and I think will contribute massively this season. Derek White as well, who had an amazing series, a whole series against the Golden State Warriors, after not really showing up in the postseason as much as we would probably like him to. He played amazing in that series, and if he can progress and keep that up, we're going to be an amazing team next season and probably the team to beat. The only team you have to be worried about really is the Golden State Warriors, because they are the Golden State Warriors, and with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, they're going to be probably one of the best teams in the NBA. Now, can they stay injury free? Can Klay play the whole season? Can Steph play the whole season? Can Draymond play the whole season? It's an interesting one, but I think they have the most likely chance of doing it back to back than any other team winning it, in my opinion. They should be favourites, but in a lot of people's eyes, the Celtics are. I really love the Golden State Warriors, how they bring in the youth, how they're bringing that in with the vets, and it's a bit like what the Celtics are doing, but they have a bit more star power leadership, whereas we have some leadership, but they're not our star players, and that's what the Golden State Warriors have, and I think it's so unique. It is really interesting seeing this mix of all these talented young players and all these superstar veterans who, again, they know what it takes. They've won it 4 times now. And even Jordan Poole coming back in, he's going to be better. Oh, it's a scary time for the NBA next season. But we'll see what happens. And if you have liked this video, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I really do appreciate you. Thank you.